How these friction arms work is when you turn this knob, it compresses this friction material, and so these arms are locked from rotating. This hinge essentially locks out when you tighten this. Also, when you tighten this, there's a rod in here that presses against this ball joint right here. And so that locks out the ball joint. So it keeps this whole thing right here, this right here, from turning, and then it keeps this ball joint here from being free. So effectively, by turning one knob, you're locking the elbow, you're locking the wrist, and you're locking the ball and socket. Okay, so if this is too loose when this is tight, or if you have to, another way to say it is if you go really, really tight with this to get the adequate strength or the adequate resistance to movement. In other words, the load capacity. If you want the load capacity, say at a given ball joint, to be higher, then what you effectively have to do is you have to take the rod that's in here that's actually pushing against the ball joint, that does so when you tighten this, you have to effectively make that longer. Another way to say that is you bring this assembly, this end part, in closer in its released state. So right now this is completely loose. So what you want to do is you hold this with one wrench, and then you grab the other wrench and you loosen this top fastener. You thread it down. So you're going to turn it this way, and it's going to back off away from this collar thing. Now this collar is what you're going to actually turn, and you're going to move this collar down these threads. So you're going to basically advance this whole assembly in this direction. In so doing, you're bringing the ball closer to this long rod. In effect, you're actually going to make contact. You are making contact right now with the rod, but and I'm saying right now in the sense that right now this is completely loose. So this rod is making contact with the ball, and when you turn this down, down these threads, you'll make even more contact with the rod. And then when you activate this clamp, this knob, a little bit of a turn will really push the rod, which is already in contact with the ball, all the more. Bottom line, you just simply want to bring this down so that the rod, for a given amount of rotation, exerts a greater force on the ball. Hold this, turn this down, and then advance this down these threads. And to do so, you might have to grab this nut, and you might actually have to use some channel locks to grab this and turn it down, and then you lock it in place by, again, turning this against it. That's how you do it.